Sunday action on the fifth stand. Club history in the spring for Chelsea. National history for the Lionesses in the summer. And in no time at all, we find ourselves looking ahead to a new campaign with this fine side. Rightly expected to be challenging once again on all fronts. As for this pre-season, the Blues have been to the States for a couple of good tests. And back home, well, there's never anything friendly about Chelsea playing Tottenham. Both clubs with plenty of new arrivals. Only one with lots of winners' medals. Curiously, that contrast doesn't seem to alter, whatever the level. Emma Hayes continuing her fine-tuning of the Chelsea winning machine. 5 league titles, 3 in a row, with 4 League and Cup doubles in the mix. Following the domestic glory of last season, only European silverware remains elusive, but we'll worry about that when the Champions League kicks off again. Kingsmeadow all set for a new season. Sam Parkin alongside me. And yet again, in the summer, Sam, we find ourselves feeling like the women's game has gone up a notch. The interest, of course, has gone up several notches. The quality too.
Yeah, just looking at the people there, great levels of younger supporters coming out, and that's what we're going to see this season. It's brilliant, fantastic to have games at the main stadium on the horizon as well. Going to be fixtures, you know, across the country coming up soon to kick off the WSL season. So absolutely brilliant, and I would imagine by the looks of the signings that Emma Hayes is making, the standard is going to be at an all-time high. Hopefully they can be fighting on all fronts again this season, and that will only garner more support as the season unfolds with the success that Chelsea have had at this level.
The squad depth is frightening. You're going to see that in action today. More about the team news to come shortly, but not just the new signings that Sam was talking about there, but plenty of regulars have extended their deals, including a European champion.
I'm Millie Bright and I'm here to stay. Another contract with Chelsea, unbelievable feeling to sign another one and to be staying for another 3 years with the club that I absolutely love and adore and would do anything for. Best memories at Chelsea, hard to pick. I think last year with the 3 trophies that we lifted, I think was probably one of the toughest years that I've experienced from being here. So yeah, to be able to still lift 3 trophies, gone through the challenges that we did. But I think every year being at this club has been amazing for me. So yeah, to pinpoint one memory is hard, but also signing another contract is definitely up there. Ambitions with Chelsea to keep winning, keep lifting silverware, keep doing the fans proud, but ultimately keep progressing as a player and keep pushing the club in the right direction.
Let's rock it with the scaffolding as well. This is London, man.
It's a bit like home anyway. Winning the Euros, a dream that I never thought would come true. Something that all players set out to achieve is winning a major tournament. Extremely proud at the moment, still managing my emotions and really letting it sink in, but just unbelievably proud. Family and friends, I mean, if you speak to my mom, she'd probably just start crying, and she always keeps saying she needs a different word other than proud, because proud doesn't cut it for her. To have them on this journey as well has been unbelievable, and that is the biggest part of my career, is having my family on every single step of the way, and it's their journey just as much as mine. Being able to experience Wembley sold out for the final was incredible. We've had many games there with Chelsea and loved every single one of them. I think this is just the start, to be honest, of women's football. I think we've set the tone now. This is the foundation of it, and from here we can only go in one direction, and that's up. So yeah, looking forward to what the future brings. It's only fair that I bring out the medal for all you guys. This is to all my family and friends and to all the fans out there that have supported us, not just this summer but over the years, and here's to the future.
Taking it to the pub.
I'm just going back in the locker now. The fans, I love you so much. I can't wait to be spending another 3 years with you. You're not getting rid of me anytime soon, certainly not for the rest of my career. I'm Chelsea through and through. I can't wait to start the season, and we'll see you soon.
Coming up, 8 years of blue, Millie Bright here from the very beginning of the title-winning charge that followed in her first full season, and you'll be able to see her and her colleagues in action. Don't forget this, folks, big day, Stamford Bridge for the season opener, Sunday the 11th of September. Chelsea at home to West Ham. Tickets are available. Check out the website for more on that. New milestones all the time, new achievements all the time. I remember seeing Chelsea at home to Wolfsburg, and Emma Hayes was very proud to be the first coach to lead out the women's side at the Bridge. Millie Bright not involved today. Plenty of her colleagues are. There's a game earlier on today at training, and there are a few away with their countries as well, but it's still a very strong side. Millie Bright down to just one of two left from that original title-winning side. Her and Fran Kirby, with G having moved on and Drew Spence having moved on. We're going to see her today in the wrong colour shirt. That's going to feel a little bit odd. Very small and very young Blues bench today. Wonder how many of these Blues fans were present at Wembley or in any of the games before. It was a real thrill, the Euros, not just the way it ended, but the occasions in general. Anyone who went to any of the games will know that. There was some high quality, some great drama, some brilliant goals, and the right winners, Sam.
Yeah, absolutely. Terrific end to the campaign. I think it grabbed absolutely everyone in the country. Some phenomenal performers, I thought, throughout. I mean, there wasn't a weakness, I didn't feel, in the English side. An obvious one anyway. They were so strong in every department. They had a bit of guile on the ball. They had that sturdiness in defence. The likes of Millie Bright, of course, had phenomenal tournaments, and then lots of kind of guile in the final third as well. So yeah, it was a terrific tournament. Rightly went all the way and were victorious in the end. So going to be interesting to see how all the players, I suppose, from that England setup adapt, how they start the WSL season after the highs of the summer. It can be, I'm sure, quite a difficult thing to come back to the bread and butter of the league season. That said, with some of the games going to be played at the Emirates and Stamford Bridge and the like, the motivation will be different, and will probably be clear that this is just the start of what could be an unbelievable few years for the women's game.
Well, here they come, Chelsea and Tottenham. I wonder if Rhian Skinner and Emma Hayes might be doing a bit of Tuchel and Kanté at full time. I suspect not, but you never know. 2 weeks till this latest title defence begins at the Bridge against West Ham. Tottenham actually will be kicking off the WL season. They meet Man United in the early game on the opening day. And they finished 5th last season. Spurs, by the way, and Man U were in fact 4th, but quite a distance off, and they were a long way off Chelsea. Seems friendly enough at the moment. Let's take a look at the team news. Well, some Blues are on their way to international duty, and others played behind closed doors earlier today, but look at how strong this lineup is, even without them. We're going to get a first close-up look at Johanna Rytting-Kanerud. We think wide in midfield, new Swedish international. Fellow new arrival Ev Perisset at full-back, and we're expecting to see Lauren James and Pernille Harder supporting Beth England, who starts up front. Youngsters on the bench for the Blues. As for Tottenham, well, there's a former Blue, Becky Spencer, in goal, and what an odd day this might be for Drew Spence after 13 years and nearly 250 appearances in Chelsea Blue. There's been plenty of other shopping for Spurs this summer too. The new recruits like Amy Turner at the back, Angarad James in midfield, and the new number 9 up top, Nicola Karczewska. Well, they all start. 4 League and Cup doubles for Emma Hayes, MBE. More shopping this summer. Relentless winning machine that she's got going here. We all know, really, that the next hurdle is Europe. But the way they attacked that league run-in, the consecutive wins when Arsenal were doing the same, it was pretty incredible. And even adversity on the final day, Sam, it's a winning mentality and then some amongst this group, isn't it? And even the cup final as well, you know, when Man City kept coming back.
Yeah, it feels like there was little margin for error last season. They almost played catch-up, didn't they, the early part of the season after that defeat at Arsenal. So incredible mental strength, consistency, when there's no real margin for error. It's a bit like what we saw in the Premier League, the Men's Premier League last season with Manchester City and Liverpool. You can't afford to drop points, and the signings this summer, the way that Emma Hayes has gone about her business, suggests to me that she's anticipating a stronger challenge once more from maybe 1 or 2 clubs. Tottenham probably going to shorten that distance. They are from the kind of top 2 or 3 as well, with the signings that they're starting to make. So it's becoming a more competitive field across the piece, and they'll be tested this year if they want to get the silverware that they've been used to winning. They have to be at the optimum level from the word go when they play against West Ham in a few weeks' time. So, yeah, looking forward to this today. A little bit unsure as to where everyone's going to be lining up. There seems to be a lot of attacking prowess out there, but we know that versatility, I think, in Emma Hayes' setup and within the individual players is key. A number of them play different roles. Maren Mjelde, for example. Drew Spence used to play every position on the pitch, didn't she, before she made the move. So, yeah, it'd be interesting to see if there's any players with that defensive nous in the midfield today, because there's a lot of attacking talent.
Away we go then. And first attempted 50-50 comes from Erin Cuthbert, talking about the middle of the midfield there. No surprise there, and it'll roll through for Zecida Musovic. You'll have presumably seen the news about Ann-Katrin Berger, with it, all of us wishing her well. Musovic set to be first choice for the foreseeable at the moment. Here is Lauren James, new number 10. G has had that shirt for so long, and Lauren James will feel like I think she'll feel almost like a new signing again, but one reason or another, barely got a look in, mostly from the bench when she did last season. Finally got her first Chelsea goal near the end. But it was one heck of a run-in. Lost the League Cup final to Man City, and then won 12 straight all the way in to win the title by that 1 point and win the FA Cup. That is an extraordinary sequence of victories. So Jess Carter looks as if well, she's flexible enough, as Sam was saying, be right back, right wing back, in the back three, but Perisset right back, Carter, Mjelde, Nuven across the back.
It looks like Erin Cuthbert's going to be the deep line midfield player, so we know she's got that tenacity, but doing the kind of Sophie Ingle role, she's going to have the quality on the ball. She's going to have to keep possession and progress it up the pitch. So, yeah, exactly what we were just saying as they kicked off. Versatility, I think, you know, very key, especially when you're down a few players, down in numbers somewhat.
Nice floated ball towards Perisset, couldn't quite keep it, and it goes back from Molly Bartrip to Becky Spencer, who they got from West Ham after she'd left Chelsea. Back up to a very successful side here. Here's Beth England. Now, Ritten Kanerud, the new Swede, played in all of their Euros games, including against England, did Kanerud. Expecting her to be a right-sided option this season. G, Spence, Jonna Andersson went as well, another Swede, who's obviously a left-sided option. So, yes, there have been ins, but also a handful there of pretty significant outgoing players too. But Svitkova is a left-sided option, essentially replacing Anderson in the squad. Perisset right back. Kadisha Buchanan, another centre-half, who's not involved here. You look at who's not involved here. given how strong this team looks. No Millie Bright, no Magda Eriksson, no Ingle, Kerr, Charles Fleming, Lou Poltz, Kirby. A couple more new signings as well. It's frightening depth, which maybe only Manchester City, and probably not even them, can match. Sam talking about the greater challenges that might come this term. Well, Man City are definitely one of those, because they had such an awful start to the season with half their team injured. They were probably the second best team in the league thereafter. Apologies, folks, a few pre-season gremlins at Kings Meadow. I have an alternative angle for you for a bit here. Maren Mjelde, a bit like Lauren James, will be feeling like she's almost had a season off. Maren Mjelde barely played that awful injury in the previous year's League Cup final. Well, that's a good ball into Wrighton. What a performance all season long Guro Wrighton put in. There was some questions as to whether she'd even be starting all the time. She ended up playing as much as anybody. Here is Whitting Canarid, chased all the way by Ash Neville. Cuthbert trying to slide it in. Moving it nicely here, England into Wrighton. Pernille Harder. The disappointing Euros with the Danes, Pernille Harder. Expected to do perhaps a little better than they did. No one under a bit of pressure from Jessica Naz, who's just extended her Tottenham deal. There's Naz again, no one getting tight. Angarad James has overplayed it. Very experienced player, Welsh international, who's in America last year, but Arsenal, Bristol, Notts County, Yeovil, Everton, Reading. Been around the block for a long time. Before and since the women's game got big. Angarad James wearing 15 for Spurs there. Slightly new role for Perisset. How difficult is that, Sam, for being a right full-back all the time to play left full-back? Is it that different?
I think it is, yeah. You have to obviously alter your delivery everywhere on the pitch, really. You're going to take that extra touch to come in field. I think it can work in the final third. It asks the opposition a different question.
Naz is in here, first big chance of the game. Mjelde's pushed it wide, and Naz has put it wide. Big opportunity, they got him pretty easily there.
It's actually, pretty good defending from Mjelde in the end. Yes, there's quite a gap there in between fullback and central defender for Naz to run into, but Mjelde just applied enough pressure, I think it was coming over from her right-sided berth in the centre of defence, just to apply a little bit of pressure, a little bit of contact. I think that forced the effort to go wide of the far post. But a warning sign after Chelsea having the possession, trying to prise Tottenham open. It's that organisation. When you've got the ball, behind the ball, make sure that's on point so that doesn't happen when the ball turns over.
Committed her future to the club, Jessica Naz. A few goals last year, winner against Everton, winner against Reading, Arsenal as a kid. Zadorsky here, regular skipper. Another who's extended her deal. Part of that Canadian Olympic winning team with Chelsea's Jessie Fleming, amongst others. Quite a few of that Canadian squad playing in. Oh, hello, what's going on here? Becky Spencer, Beth England putting the pressure on. Cuthbert, another one of those versatile players Sam was talking about. Need her at wing back, need her supporting the attack, holding midfield, roving midfield. You can see her doing some on-field coaching there. Melder only played half a dozen games last term. A couple in the Champions League. Bit of FA Cup, but mostly substitutes. Kanarud. No one keeps it moving. Perisset. Nicely done. Too quick, too good there. Guro Wrighton played in all but one of the WSL games last season, started all but 4 of them. Absolutely brilliant, up the goal tally as well. Cuthbert. There's Wrighton again, great take, slightly heavy touch, just allowed James in. He's trying to mop up in there as the central midfielder. One back quickly and one back well. It's good, this. Nice idea, Lauren James, and Richard Kenner just got there and then ran out of room.
Yeah, it was a shame, just overhit the pass in the end. Good play in the middle of the pitch from Erin Cuthbert. I think with her role today, but also the 2 advanced midfielders, Harder and Lauren James, that's a tough job. Both of them, I think, would prefer to be further up the pitch and probably not have as much defensive responsibility. So I think, considering there's a bit of a lack of defensively minded midfielders in the team, those 2 have to be really focused on their defensive jobs. They can't be just bombing on and getting in the box on all occasions. They're going to have to play with a handbrake on at times and make sure that communication's good between them. So it's a really, really attacking lineup. Again, for the 2 fullbacks, Carter and Perisset, they're going to have to pick their opportunities to get forward. Otherwise, Chelsea are going to be liable to the counter-attack.
Not often you see that happen to Erin Cuthbert there. She's putting the pressure on Amy Turner here, and that was asking a question of Becky Spencer, all right. Nguyen with options as Spurs drop in. James with the early ball. Right, and misplaced a pass. Don't see that very often. And then Rosella Ayana, former Chelsea youngster and fringe player, loses out for Tottenham, and the Blues start again, bossing the ball for sure. High line. Here's Harder. Melder. Oh, Melder was at the Euros, so 2 Harder here. Nicely done. Chance for the pullback here.
That was a really bright bit of play from Pernille Harder, just pulling into the space on the left-hand side that Guro Wrighton had vacated, and this type of setup that they're facing here from Tottenham, who, quite understandably, this is how they would set up in the WSL when they're playing against Chelsea. you know, a little bit deep, allowing Chelsea to have the ball, cutting off the space, hoping that they can cause a threat on the counter-attack. Chelsea players are going to have really good movement here, going to have to problem solve, and that was brilliant play from Harder, just swapping places with Guru Wrighton, and end up in a good shooting opportunity from the edge of the box.
Just pulled wide by Erin Cuthbert. Here she is now waiting to receive from Mjelde. You can hear Rhian Skinner on the touchline, the Tottenham coach. Big switch is the attempt. Ash Neville mopping up, but conceding a corner. Good pressure.
Again, that's Harder pulling into a wide position. She's playing as a number 8, but she's already recognised that there's not much space in the middle of the pitch. It's very congested, so pulling out there to maybe provide 2v1s, 3v2s with Perisset, Guru Wrighton. Wrighton's started the game well, as always. She won't be deterred by the lack of space in there. Such a good technical footballer. She'll be able to keep the ball, no problem.
Wrighton curls it in, and it's headed out by Molly Bartrip. Standout opportunity so far has gone to Jessica Naz of Tottenham. Long ball here. Chance! And it's in. Pernille Harder finds the corner and Chelsea lead.
It's a direct ball where Chelsea get success. They've played some nice intricate stuff, tried to play through the thirds and break Tottenham down, but it's just a ball from around about the halfway line, which Tottenham just don't deal with. It's a fortunate ricochet that lands at the right foot of Harder. It's just a ball put into an area by Carter, unable to take it in initially. Fortunate ricochet, falls on her right foot, stretching, and the angle of the finish is delightful, just shapes it into the far corner.
One of the game's top talents, 17 goals in all competitions for the Blues last term. More than half of them in the second half of the season. Here's Drew Spence. Wonder if she has at any point thought about passing to a Chelsea player just from force of habit after 13 years, 5 league titles, 6 cups. Not seen much of Karczewska. Got it into Rosella Ayan here. Tight angle. It's a pretty ugly slice.
Yeah, just stood off her for a moment there. Why not? If they're going to do that, take the strike on. And from a difficult angle, there was a lot of blue shirts to get past, but was unable to wrap her left foot around it to work it onto the target. But there's been a couple of warning signs. Chelsea do want to play so expansively and cover all areas of the pitch. The two full-backs do want to push on when they can. It just leaves you a little bit susceptible if you give the ball away. So again, that's for Erin Cuthbert to kind of sit on the toes of the two central defenders and make sure that they're just not too offensive from the off here, or it's going to leave gaps.
No one's over-drilled that. Chelsea 1, Tottenham 0. We like that scoreline. Wrighton on the charge. Free kick given in a half-decent position as well. Just while we wait to see who's going to take it, let's have a look. Jess Carter is there, Perisset is there. I'm going to talk to you about West Ham, but that's coming in a minute. Let's see what happens from this. It's in towards Harder again there. It's out by Ash Neville. And Ritty Cannerud has gone there and pulled back, offside. Don't forget, when the WSL title defence begins. It begins for Emma Hayes and the players at Stamford Bridge. Tickets are available. Chelsea against West Ham. They'll be under new management after a rather disappointing WSL season. See if they do better than last year when there was defeat. A hell of a defeat, but a cracking game. 3-2 to Arsenal. And as Sam touched on, it was kind of catch-up thereafter. It was never a point where Chelsea played the same games as Arsenal, and finally late in the spring they got those games in hand played, and therefore just went above them. And then it was just each weekend who'd played before who, and nip above again and them above again. It was a quality title race, it really was. And if Man City hadn't had basically their entire back five and half their midfield out for the first month of the season, it probably would have been a three-way scrap in that regard. I think I'm working hard to keep that in. And Fran Kirby missing for big chunks of last term. That was the door open for Beth England to start a few more. Newen gets the head on it. Spence trying to scrap away, and she's done enough. Well off from Zadorsky.
There's been a couple of moments for Tottenham. That one wasn't really on to strike, but a couple of warning signs in the first half. And strangely, for all Chelsea's good possession, trying to prise Tottenham open, the opening goals come from a defensive mistake. So I think when you've got finishers in the team, like Harder, like Beth England, that direct approach at times, if there's not the way to play through Tottenham, it can pay off to be a little bit more direct at times and prey on defensive mistakes, because those chances are normally taken.
Harder tracking back to nick in. Now Cuthbert finding her way out of a tight squeeze is to go back to Musovic. For obvious reasons, we're going to see, you would think, all being well, Zecira Musovic getting a regular run. She did get in for Anne-Catherine last term for a little bit. Just in the spring, you wondered whether there might be a slight changing of the guard there anyway. Turner back to Spencer. And here comes the squeeze. Ryan thought that was going to be a Tottenham ball. No one's picking up Cuthbert here. Maren Mjelde instead. Perisset there at left back. Well, she went deep, didn't she, in the tournament with the French, and they finally got through their quarter-final curse. They got Ritten Kaneryd with the Swedes, obviously the England contingent. So quite a few played relatively recently in terms of that. So I mentioned earlier whether that might be a factor. Just that shorter summer, maybe something in that, maybe not.
Yeah, you would think they'd all be relatively fit, maybe in comparison to how they normally would be. I know they've had a few weeks to recharge the batteries, but I'm not sure how it equates having that summer tournament. Normally, you know, the start of a season, 6 or 7 games, I would say, until you've got your full match fitness, taking pre-season into account as well. You don't really feel like you can motor through 90 minutes until you've got that core base of the first 5 or 6 games of the season. So we'll see, you know, how the likes of Fran Kirby, Fran's maybe a different case considering her problems of last season, but, you know, Millie Bright, if she's completely at it from the first game of the season.
Halfway through the first half. If you're just joining us, Pernille Harder's opener. There's Chelsea in front. Spence looking for something delicate over the top. Ayan making the run from deep. Neville stealing in. Is Ayan again and Neville again. Well watched by the goal scorer. To Wrighton. Looking for Lauren James. Drew Spence seeing plenty of the ball. I suspect she won't quite get the medals with Spurs that she did as a Blue. But how can we not wish her well? Ayan back to Naz. That looked on target, but Maren Mjelde nice and tight. Naz again. Little 1-2 that with Spence. Well, it's on target, but it's easily enough saved.
Yeah, better from Tottenham. It was a really good crossfield ball from right to left that set Ayan off initially, and then Naz and Drew Spence with a beautiful 1-2 in the middle of the pitch. Just a hard strike running away from goal. Really had to wrap the right foot around it and almost just prodded it towards the far post. Comfortable save for Musovic. But it's been a pretty even first half. Chelsea haven't had much on the Tottenham goal. Plenty of possession in the opening 15 minutes, but it's not equated to chances. Quite a lot of sloppy passing as well. So yeah, plenty of work to do, but goal to the good. That's the most important thing.
Nicely timed ball into the channel and the run from in to out from Beth England. Back it comes for the rebuild.
Yeah, good, she. Good. Come on. She said you can go. Come on. Close up the gap. Close up the gap, sister.
Mjelde into Harder, good balance. Nearly. Ash Neville got there first before Ritten Kanerud could get a toe on it.
It's good stuff from Harder. Great position she takes up. I just felt just forced the issue somewhat. I thought this was brilliant. Great take, little wriggle. I think it's on to shoot there. There's a little 3 or 4 yard circle of space that she's able to drive into and maybe get the strike away on her right side.
Not like she's lacking the technique or the confidence or the goal-scoring pedigree. 16 and 17 she scored in her 2 Chelsea seasons so far, Pernille Harder, but opted to pass then. And comes the corner. And it was Annick Nguyen getting up from the back there. Scored against Leicester to open her Chelsea account in the Cup, and then actually scored against them pretty soon after in the league. Annick Nguyen. And there she is doing the day job. Spence with a late challenge apparently. Some treatment required here.
Lauren, Jojo, come here. She?
Dropped in deep a few times to get on the ball there. And this time it's Costa. Drinks, bake and team chat. What's she going to want to see more of, Sam, or less of?
I would imagine the conversation will be about how the players can free themselves up. You know, when you're playing against a team that's getting back into their shape really well and making it difficult, invariably that's the majority of the games in the WSL. When you're playing against, with respect, opposition that haven't got as much quality as you, they're going to make it incredibly difficult. So I think it's those little patterns, how they can get through Tottenham's kind of 2 banks, really. You spoke about Perisset, the problems that she may face today, having to come in field, and I don't think she's had an easy enough option at times on the ball. It's been hard for her to keep possession and keep the ball moving up the pitch. So I think it's those little permutations and little patterns that Emma Hayes will be reiterating to the players, really. I'm sure she'd have picked up some ideas just watching this opening half an hour unfold as to how Chelsea could get joy.
Denise Reddy and long-time assistant Stuart Searle. Part of member staff there you just saw. It's going to stay in play. Spence nods it on. Karczewska using that physicality and using it really well against Maren Mjelde. Karczewska. Well, it ends up being pretty innocuous, but it might have been more than that. Good use of her power and size there.
Yeah, just needed a little bit more support. She kind of backed herself to try and drive towards goal there and maybe get a strike away on the left foot. Maren Mjelde defended it well ultimately anyway, but yeah, just needed a few more white shirts to make the 18-yard box for the delivery off the left side.
The Polish international Karczewska and got 10 goals in the French league for Fleury. Eve Perisset will know about her. They also had Rachel Williams till last year, Tottenham up front, former Blues striker, including Birmingham Blues as well as Chelsea Blues. Prolific in her time, but not so prolific for Tottenham. If you're talking about the quality of the WSL concertinaing a bit and tightening up the difference between the haves and the have-nots is as much as anything the goal scorer. If you look around clubs like who are sort of mid-table, like Tottenham or West Ham or Aston Villa, the one thing they all have in common is their top scorers getting 4 or 5 or 6 goals a season, whereas Man U, Man City, Chelsea have people getting 15, 16. And even more, of course, in Sam Kerr's case, but she is rather special. Here's Cuthbert. Just thinking about that goal Erin Cuthbert scored in the cup final at Wembley that we thought was going to be the winner. I wonder how often she thinks. Probably just pleased that she won the cup, but I wonder how often she might think, I wish that had been the winning goal. It very nearly was. Here's James. Plenty in a crowded 6-yard box there. They come out again now. Pernille Harder seems to be okay. Dangerous cross. Beth England with the header.
Yeah, well, she's had to wait half an hour for her first sight of goal. Just a half chance, that's all it is. Always a difficult header when you're kind of pulling away from the target. The ball, the direction of the ball is slightly behind you. Interesting that Chelsea's best chances have come from a bit of a back-to-front approach. That was another ball just played from deep into one of the forward players, and they're able to recycle it, keep it alive, and therefore Beth England gets her first opportunity on the goal. So, yeah, when you've got the physical power up there, as you do today in Harder to a lesser, Beth England to a lesser degree Harder, James as well, maybe miss out the midfield and just work those defenders a little bit earlier.
Definitely something to be said for that. Third of the game gone here. Tottenham's best chance, still that early one when Naz was through. There's a moment there for Karczewska though. Spence made the run from midfield, didn't get to her. She was the target. Out by Perisset. A reminder that tickets are still available for the WSL season opener. The latest title defence begins at home to the Hammers at Stamford Bridge. It'll be a great occasion. Hopefully some old and new fans of this Chelsea women's side coming to SW6. Is Guro Wrighton. Dropped here for Harder. Lauren James. Spence closed it down and Cuthbert went for The kind of glory she managed to strike at Wembley was just about that sort of range, wasn't it? But not quite the same spectacular result.
That was built really well down the left-hand side. All of a sudden, Perisset does have an option, little triangle with Harder and Guro Wrighton, and in the end, it's really great awareness from James. Terrific. She actually moved her right foot towards the ball as if she was going to take it in, and just took it away, allowed it to run through her legs. Cuthbert in a better position, arriving right on cue, and just couldn't work the target with her strike, but much better from Chelsea.
Cuthbert trying to slide Lauren James in. England up there would start up front for many sides in many leagues. She still does reasonably often, and did last term. Fractionally more starts than substitute appearances, but certainly a regular either way, whether from the bench or otherwise. And she's in the middle now as Guro Wrighton cuts it back for Lauren James. It's a great ball, second bite straight at the keeper. Super delivery that from Guro Wrighton.
It was, and a brilliantly timed run. Gets a bit fortunate because made a hash of the first attempt and then just needs to compose herself. Still in a great position. The angle's relatively tight. These two are starting to link up really well on the left-hand side. That's probably been a feature of the first half. Just there, maybe an extra touch. It's under her feet somewhat and kind of stabs it goalwards. A little bit more composure. Could have just taken a few more touches, maybe even got it onto her right side.
Cuthbert latching onto the loose ball and drilling it straight at Becky Spencer. Not often as a forward you get that lucky, is it, to have almost an air shot and it turns into a perfect piece of control. It also is going to do the defender every time as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I just felt maybe there was an opportunity to take her time there, maybe manipulate the ball. She would have been closed down inevitably, but you know, she's got the quality, I think, to drop a shoulder.
Read that well, Erin Cuthbert, and they all backed off. That was worth a hit. Not quite the sort of hit she was imagining. Because she's so versatile and plays that many different positions, Cuthbert doesn't get loads of goals, but she often scores important ones. Could be Champions League. Now, the equaliser on the title day when, remember, Man United were in front and threatening to upset everything. Erin pops up with that. The FA Cup final, obviously. What a goal. What a goal it was. One high again, Carter firing it into England. Couldn't make it stick. Pressure is on from Guro Wrighton. Becky Spencer staying calm. Neville into Ayan. Well held up by Naz. Neville into Spence and Ayan again, and Naz making the run again. Nicely weighted that, and a good ball. But, no one tucking in from that far post. England just beaten to it. Well, in front, I'd say entirely dominant, but Spurs have had their moments, and Spencer's found busy Naz here, and they've got good numbers. Chelsea flooding back in a hurry now. A few minutes left of this first half, and Maren Mjelde well positioned to head out what was ultimately an under-hit cross. Lauren James Well, I got the shout that Ash Neville was on her case. Nicely done. Good use of the body there, Lauren James, presumably honed in the garden with brother Reece.
I think that, yeah, it's going to be a real asset this season, you know, that just being able to keep hold of possession, slow things down at times, probably, and move the ball around, rather than, you know, being so front-footed and trying to get into the front players. I think Lauren James brings that control in possession. Definitely seen it in the first half. Always looks like she's got time, even when she was being pressed there.
Well done, Cuthbert. Here is James again. This is worth a hit, definitely! Right on cue, Lauren James makes it 2-0.
That's a lovely trait, being able to go both ways. She's obviously got a goal left-footed against, was it Lyon, I think, a couple of weeks ago? Brilliant goal it was too, coming in field. And there, I mean, it's not the truest of strikes, but the direction is absolutely perfect, and she's going to get goals because her marker doesn't know if she's going to go on the outside or come in field like that. Good play again. Was it Cuthbert breaking up the play?
Yeah, she won it. It was her press.
Yeah, and she's not been put under too much pressure. She's done a really good job actually shielding the team. And again, it's just the direction of that strike from James. It's not the truest of hits, but perfectly kind of into the corner of the net.
Yes, it was top left against Lyon the other day, and that was certainly a better strike than that. I mean, that doesn't matter a jot. This was bottom right. And, Chelsea should have put that Lyon game to bed, actually, in Portland. 2-0 up, including that Lauren James goal, but conceded twice, including late, and then lost a penalty shootout before beating Portland, the hosts, 1-0. As Tottenham trying to get back in it, and I thought for a minute that Drew Spence had done it. Good break from midfield, and we know she can do that.
Yeah, it was a nice bit of play. It was a lovely pass into her. I think she could have stepped over this. I think there was a teammate in a better position. Wasn't loads of pace on it, but I think Drew Spence maybe should have left that for Ali, who was just arriving behind her. Chelsea had a lot of bodies back in truth, so maybe would have been able to stub out that danger. But they've had a few moments. Vucevic hasn't been forced into any tough saves. It's all been pretty run-of-the-mill.
They haven't had tons of chances, Tottenham, but the ones they've had have been pretty decent ones. Erin Cuthbert, a real leader, even though she's not wearing the armband. You just know she carries out what Emma Hayes demands. She is that sort of rabble-rousing type in the middle of the park. Symbolises the team, I think, quite a lot. Yes, there's loads of quality, technically speaking, Sam, but it's the sort of the guts of a player like Erin Cuthbert that is almost more Emma Hazy, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and every season she's probably got to come back and be right at the top of her game. She's one of those players that can fill in everywhere, and sometimes that's to your detriment, and you get left out for someone who's an expert in their field, maybe as a winger or as a central midfielder, as a centre forward. So I think Erin Cuthbert comes back and says, you know what, I love being here, I want to play every week. And that's as much about endeavour as it is ability. So I think she's continuing to improve as well, and scoring big goals, providing big moments. So yeah, she's a credit, and she'll probably play the majority of games again this year, even with the influx of new stars.
It's so true. Okay, another new signing's coming who might play where I go. Okay, I'll get even better and work even harder. And just keeps on being a regular, and hopefully a nice big crowd at Stamford Bridge on the 11th. We'll see what she's all about against West Ham for the season opener. Zadorsky here. He's going to let Neville take over. It's one of a fair few players Tottenham have still got from when they came up from the Championship. It's Neville very much part of their furniture. To the new recruit Karczewska in there, just as we're talking about her, is Erin Cuthbert on clean-up and even won the throw. Typical of her. Calmly done. Molly Bartrip under pressure from James. As Tottenham's James plays it forward, Jessica Naz offside. Nice little run that though, quite well found.
Well, she's got some good positions, not quite been able to find the finishing touch, but yeah, lovely movement. And you know, Chelsea have got a nice cushion, but you know, there's been a few moments where they've looked a little bit out of sorts defensively, and that's to be expected. You know, this is very much a team that would have been put together in the last day or so, I'm sure. Won't have worked together tirelessly on the training ground, because this is probably not going to be an 11 we see again from the off in the WSL. So yeah, there's going to be moments where the communication is not quite there inevitably, and Tottenham have got in because of that probably on a few occasions.
Haven't seen tons of Cannerud on this right side. There's Spence. Half a minute plus whatever is added on. Oh dear, mistake from Jess Carter. That doesn't happen very often. Karczewska, oh, what a block! Maren Mjelde, referee checks, no goal. How about that from the skipper?
Yeah, terrific stuff, just covering her teammate, getting back on the line quickly as possible. Jess Carter always looks like she's in control of every situation, and she's just too complacent there. It's real sloppy play. Yeah, I'm not sure why Karczewska didn't go for a little bit more height or maybe a little bit more pace. It's quite central, isn't it? The attempted finish gives Mjelde the opportunity to get it off the line. Almost as if she looked square, looking for a teammate. It must have been a shot. Just didn't get enough purchase on it.
Yeah, you think any height and it's in, but...
Or take that extra touch to make sure, and then it's a bit of cat and mouse with the defender on the line. You can at least get real pace on the strike. It was a side-footed attempt that was cleared.
That is brilliant from Brighton to dink it over the top here for Pernille Harder. Could have been 2-1 a moment ago as Chelsea looked to make it 3-0 in first half stoppage time. Jess Carter's going to be extremely relieved. Cuthbert hits it. Not her truest strike. And there's a real moment of relief at the back for the Blues, and for Musovic, who did actually quite well not to foul Karczewska. Look at this pass. Oh, sweet.
Yeah, it's been an area of the pitch that have had great success down the left. Bit of problem solving, I would say, early on, but from about the 15-minute mark, they've worked some really good positions, especially down that flank.
Yes, including Pernille Harder there, who got the opening goal. Nicely tucked away, and Lauren James made it 2-0. There have been 2 or 3 genuine scares at the other end. Tottenham haven't created tons of chances, but the ones they have made have been pretty clear, including right at the end there, when Maren Mjelde managed to make that goal line clearance a moment ago. But James and Harder on the score sheet, and Chelsea are beating Tottenham. We like that. 2-0 is the half-time score. Now, why they go and have their team talk? Don't expect too many changes, because Emma Hayes is going to want people getting 90 minutes under their belt with the new season just a couple of weeks away. We know about some of the new arrivals, and we've seen 1 or 2 of them in action here, but also keeping the ones you've already got, such a big deal. We've heard from Millie Bright already. There's a couple of others who have extended their stay as Blue.
I'm Guro Reiten, and I signed 3 new years. Okay, I'm super excited! I am very excited to sign for Chelsea for 3 more years. It's been 3 already and it's gone so quick, but I love it here. I really have enjoyed those 3 years. As long as I'm having fun, I'm in a good place, and adding on trophies is what I want. So I think it's the best place to be right now. I've grown a lot, both as a player and as a person, and hopefully I could just continue. The level at this club, both on and off the pitch, is unbelievable. We talk about raising the standards every day and bringing in new players. Very good place to be. Last season, the way we won it, with all the challenges, injuries, COVID, everything, it was, you know, it felt like a real team effort, and the way we did it together. I want to keep doing my job and help the team win more, be better. No matter where we travel or where we play, it always feels like home, because everyone in the stands feels like they are our fans. They are so loud and unbelievable. They support us no matter what, and they have helped us so much in the past with winning the trophies, and hopefully they can help us in the future. My first game at Chelsea were at Stamford Bridge. We've talked about playing there so many times, and finally we can do that with fans. Obviously COVID has had its impact on that, but it's going to be a real good moment for us to be back at Stamford Bridge.
I'm Neve Charles, and I'm really happy to have signed a new contract with Chelsea. I've had a really good time so far here and created some great memories, and I'm really excited for the future. I think it's really exciting, and to look forward the quality of players we have and what we could potentially achieve. I think it's really special and really exciting. Obviously it's a privilege to be able to play with these players every day. I think the whole staff and the whole setup is where I want to be to develop, and I think working with them is only going to help that, and the detail that she puts into my game and has developed so far. There's plenty more for me to improve on as well, so I'm really looking forward to doing that. My parents told me when I was younger, I just was on one of them bouncy things, and I just started kicking a ball, and they were like, well, what's going on? And I just kept doing it, and they took me down to my local team, and from there I just sort of stayed with them through till I was 14, 15, and then joined Liverpool Academy. I think being a Liverpool girl growing up, it was always Steven Gerrard. I think the way he led the club and the passion he had for the club, and obviously the way he played was, yeah, had posters of him all over my wall, and yeah, he definitely inspired me. Growing up, towards the end, I really looked up to Farrah Williams. I think she was sort of a pioneer for the women's game, and the back end, especially when I joined Liverpool, she was at Liverpool, so she was definitely an inspiration for me. And I think now when you look at the younger generation, they've got a multitude of females to pick from, so that's really exciting. We're all looking forward to that first game, getting back in front of our fans. We've missed them over the past few months, so that'll be really exciting, and I'm sure we'll hear them loud. I remember the first few games they came back, how loud they are at home and away games. It is truly special, and they're the best fans in the league, so we love them.
Thank you.
I think it's building off the back of the Euros. It's really important that we sort of make a push to fill the stadiums and really get as much crowd as possible and get as many people involved and interested in the game, and continuing to grow the women's game.
A push indeed to fill the stadium, and that'll be great to see how many do come along to the Bridge for the West Ham game on September the 11th, when the new WSL season starts. Reminder there that tickets are still available. I'm sure many of you will have come to see the Wolfsburg game. A long time ago that feels now. And since that boil has been lanced, of course, it used to be the nemesis every year, including when Chelsea played the first game at the Bridge against them in one of many frustrating knockouts at the European stage. But a different level of quality now, Sam, in the squad, and strength in depth. You're genuinely looking at two good players in pretty much every position now, and you think how relatively quickly that has happened. Whereas, you know, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, good 11, what else is there? Now this is almost, this is another level, isn't it? You look at who's not playing today, just for that.
Yeah, and I'm sure Emma's probably looked at it each year when they come back and where do I need to improve, and the luxury's probably not always been there that you can do everything each summer, if that makes sense. So I think when you're building towards something, it probably takes a few years, where you can go and get 2 or 3 players each summer. But now I think she's in a place where she can probably play different ways. She'll want attacking fullbacks for the majority of games in the WSL. Other times she'll want to be a little bit more conservative. She's obviously got the firepower. I think we're seeing today that maybe the middle of the pitch is an area that might need reinforced if there is the opportunity to bring 1 or 2 in. I know that there's obviously Ingle that can play in there and 1 or 2 others. But I think when you're looking at, you know, the squad having those 2 players in every position, that's where they'll want to be this year. But you look at the calibre of the players that have come in, you look at the depth of the squad now. You know, she'll be really optimistic. I'm sure they can go deep in the Champions League. And I don't know, without speaking to her, we kind of take it as gospel that that's the one she really wants. You know, but is it dominating in this country still the priority? I don't know, we'd have to ask her, but yeah, it would be nice to get a Champions League soon, wouldn't it?
It would indeed be nice, at the very least, for sure, especially after 3 in a row. Let's just have a little recap on some of the main action here. This is the opening goal, Sam, and it comes from that long ball from Jess Carter. And a little bit of fortune. Yeah,
and Harder actually positions herself really intelligently in between the 2 defenders, but if you're not getting joy playing through teams, go a bit more direct, and they made their own luck there, and that was kind of individual brilliance, you got to say. A technically very good footballer in the final third, expressing herself, as she did against Lyon the other day, and that's another very tidy finish. And just as I was talking about a few moments ago, it's adding players with different characteristics, and I think she's got unique skills, really, to what the other forward players offer.
Right, second half coming shortly with a handy 2-0 lead for the Blues over Spurs. But before that, here are Sam Kerr and Erin Cuthbert to give you the guided tour of the bridge.
Hi, I'm Sam Kerr. And I'm Erin Cuthbert. And we're at Stamford Bridge, where we play our opening match. Come on in, we'll show you around. This is the home changing room. Come and have a look round with us. Right, where's my name then? Oh, wait. Not bad. Oh, yeah. I just want to see if the showers are any good, to be honest. Can I test the pressure? Nice. Oh, yeah, the meeting room. I forgot about that. Once we're finishing the change rooms, we head out to the tunnel. Stake out the opposition. They can't help it. And the crowd goes wild. And this is where we will be playing our game. Come here, mate. Your first time playing here? Second. I came back from injury, played here against Spurs. Don't know, but I remember Beth England scoring a screamer.
And goes for goal and right the top corner. What a start! What a start to the season!
Do you remember it?
Yeah, I was watching. I was secret signing. I knew I was signing.
Oh, you weren't here at the time.
Wasn't here. I was signing in the winter. You scoring bangers?
I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind. To be honest, imagine just scoring at Stamford Bridge. It would be class.
Yeah, it's backflip time.
You hear that?
I did it all last season.
No. Did you get the backflip out?
Last season was too edgy.
It was edgy. I was hanging on a knife edge. Like, imagine doing the backflip, then they equalise and we lose the league. Aye, no, that's...
Yeah, it was edgy. I
get that.
First game of the season.
The stage is set perfectly. Look at this.
Yeah, they heard it here first.
Sold out crowd. I'll do an knee slide then if I score.
Yeah.
Right? Recreate the Wembley one.
Yeah.
That was lit.
I was like, knee slide! Hello. Todd. It's Sam. We've got to play here way more, man. I know. I've been saying this.
For years, mate.
You brought the US weather with you, Todd. I'm liking this new ownership.
This is a mega store. Come on in.
Alright, guys, do the shopping.
Thank you. Thanks.
This is what I need for the little nephew.
They're so cute. I actually really like this top. I need to be a goalkeeper or something, because that's so nice.
There we go.
Going to be nice, I'm telling you. That's one of the best ones we've had yet. No, fine. So guys, that's Stamford Bridge. Thank you for joining us.
We can't wait to see you at the first match of the season.
Come on, the Chelsea.
Sam Kerr and Aaron Cuthbert coming soon again to Stamford Bridge for the West Ham match to kick off the new campaign. Not going to be seeing Sam Kerr in this game here. Just a reminder that a lot of other regulars, this is how deep the squad is, we've already had a game earlier on. Training ground, likes of Ericsson. Bright not here, Sam Kerr, Niamh Charles, Jesse Fleming. We're talking about the middle of the park. We've kind of forgotten about Melanie Leupolz because she's not played since December because of various issues. It's a regular prior to being out for so long. Emma Hayes coming across now. And obviously this is an exercise in upping the workload on the legs. Sam, you're saying you always found it was about 6 games before you'd feel normal, yeah? To get to what you would think of as, OK, I'm now at, in theory, peak parking.
Yeah, where you can get through games without 60, 70 minutes in feeling leggy. When you're at that stage where 90 minutes is not a breeze, but you're physically capable of going full pelt for that time, yeah. I mean, in a normal pre-season, you'd maybe play 1 90-minute, and that would be a real test physically. And then obviously the first few weeks of the season, you'd feel it. I mean, even more so now when the games come so thick and fast, the first few weeks of the season. I think you see managers, technical staffs, having to really box clever about their squads, how many minutes people get. But yeah, I would say it's about a month into the season until you feel fully up to speed. So it's going to be fascinating this year with the amount of football that a lot of the girls have played over the summer as well. So going to be interesting how Chelsea start the season. It'll probably mean that a lot of these players we're seeing today will get great opportunities from the off, and some of the new signings may be thrown in on today's evidence. Who's looking good this pre-season? Probably Lauren James. I know she was here last season, but she's probably done herself the world of good actually the last couple of weeks, having had such a stop-start first season at Chelsea. She'll be really optimistic. I'd imagine that she can affect things in the league from the off.
I remember a very long time ago at Cobham talking to Didier Drogba about pre-season, and I'm afraid I can't recall what season it was, but he was looking back at it maybe around Christmas time, and he said we did so much work and so many games in pre-season that we basically were at pretty much that peak for the start of the season, and it was damaging because it was too early to hit, to be that strong that soon, and therefore you had to drop off. And he was saying you have to have that build-up during the first few weeks, then get there. He said that we actually got overworked. It may have been the Scolari summer, I can't remember, but where they were there too soon, and therefore by Christmas there was a little bit of a drop-off from that sort of premature peak, which is interesting.
I don't know if there's a right or a wrong answer, but we were talking about it today, that the managers have got now the luxury of having the more substitutions as well, so that gives a different strand to it in this early stage of the season. If people are being monitored, the amount of football, they have the luxury now of saying after an hour, if the points are in the bag, get yourself off, rest up for the next game. And I'm sure those things are going to have been taken into account more than ever with the changes in the ruling. So Emma Hayes isn't going to have that luxury today because she's got no one on the bench alongside her.
Pre-second half huddle, halfway to job done. Can't tell who's the cheerleader-in-chief there, whether it's Mara Mjolnir, the skipper, doing the talking. And there's plenty of on-field leaders in there, whoever's wearing the armband. No Tottenham comebacks today, please. They began well last season, actually, Spurs. They levelled out. Basically a good first half of the season and a not so good second. They actually went nearly 3 months without a win till the final day that got them 5th. But you look at the difference. 10 behind Man U, who are 4th, a further 5 off City, 23 off Arsenal, 24 off Chelsea. That's closer to the bottom of the table than the top. It's the sort of gap they're trying to bridge, but it's definitely a stronger challenge in the league as a whole. Man City have been doing some fairly serious recruitment, but they've also lost some big players, Lucy Bronze, Georgia Stanway. England heroes there who have moved abroad. Bronze to Barca, Stanway to Bayern.
Kira Walsh, there was a strong link there, wasn't there? I don't know if it's happened or if it's going to happen. I think that's an interesting point, though, Ben, when you think about the level that some of these players were playing at, Beth Mead as well. When they come back to their clubs, the confidence levels, I don't know, the way that have grown over the summer before going back to their clubs. I know we obviously have Fran Kirby and Millie Bright, but some of these players I've just spoken of, the level of their performance, absolutely outstanding, and I think that will only benefit their club sides, and that makes it quite ominous for Chelsea, but just it raises the level, sorry, for what it should be a fascinating season. With that and the extended coverage that it's going to get, you know, the players will be incredibly excited about the new season. Puts them in the spotlight.
It's a throw, not a corner, which Jess Carter has taken. Here she is. Just with enough strength there. It was Barcelona who made, apparently, this was a few days ago, Barcelona made what's called a substantial offer for Kira Walsh. So that is the other thing, is do they get cherry-picked by other big European clubs? That might actually help Chelsea's cause. Melda is not going to catch Naz for pace, but she's got her into a good position, and Naz has not quite got her pass right. A little bit overconfident at the back. No, neatly done enough, and actually this might turn into something. Pernille Harder wanted a runner, only now does it come.
I think that was Perisset, wasn't it, who swapped sides with Jess Carter. And she came all the way over, almost into a left-back position to dispossess Naz. He's got into some really good positions, actually. It's just that final little bit of belief, I would say. The quality looks to be there, but or maybe just picked the wrong option on a few occasions when she's got into the Chelsea 18-yard box.
That was nicely worked between the front players, Charles and then Harder, and then Wrighton with the cross! And nearly a typical Beth England-headed goal. It's a good stop, that, in fairness to Becky Spencer.
That's brilliant football. It's a wonderful delivery. As you say, that's exactly the type of attempt you'd expect from Beth England. Having a bit of a laugh with the supporters there. Ball getting lost, but it's a really good save from Musovic. It's terrific play all round. Great delivery. Beth England attacks it. Sorry from...
Tina Corporal, who's come on at half-time. Thought Becky Spencer's looks a bit different. They've snuck that one in on us, Tottenham. They changed their keeper. And, she's in a crowded 6-yard box. Cleared by Karczewska. We've only seen one sniff of, and she very nearly scored, didn't she, with Maren Mjelde on the line? Korpela is their first choice keeper, who's on for this second half, so clearly that'll be a plan from Rianne Skinner to give them 45 each. It's a very Beth England header, that. Yeah, they definitely have switched here. Versatility required. If Perissé back into right back and Jess Carter on the left. They played 4 at the back plenty, wing backs plenty. Middle layoff. Nicely done from England to cut. Oh, beautiful ball! What a goal it would have been for Kannerud. That was a sweet manoeuvre. Ayan thought she was being fouled. The Chelsea fans then thought she did make a foul herself. Referee gave neither. A lovely disguise on that, wasn't there, Sam?
Yeah, it was really good play. Cuthbert in a really advanced midfield position. She's had good shooting opportunities actually in the first half, but that was wonderfully disguised through ball. It was perfect, and Kenny had not got into great scoring positions, I would say. She's not had a great effect in the final third. Well, that was a brilliantly timed run, and she just got her studs or her toe to the ball. Just couldn't get enough purchase on the pass from Cuthbert. Surely it would have taken it into the corner of the net.
She's just going for the little wrong foot. Toe poke on the slide there. Fair play, good stop. Nicely done for Perissé into England. Harder! Nice technique. Comfortable stop this time. More comfortable than the last, in fairness.
Yeah, we've seen that the contrast from what Perissé could contribute in an attacking sense in the first half. Hardly got over the halfway line, I would suggest. All of a sudden, she's involved almost at the Tottenham 18-yard box. And it'll probably be Jess Carter will just hold her position a little bit more in the second period because she's on the unnatural side, something we spoke about in the first period. But yeah, probably right if Perissé is going to play the majority of her football this season on the right-hand side, that Emma Hayes has a look at her today in her natural position.
A whole new, right side. Played that role for the French. Took that extra time penalty as well. There's pressure for you against the Dutch. After all of that, 3 straight quarter-final exits for France, that whole quarter-final curse, it was her penalty that got them in to the semi. It was a good game, that, against Germany. I was at that Stadium MK semi-final. Here comes Ayan to run a long way, and Smita Ali, and now Naz. Spence lurking. Jess Carter stealing in. Now James. Behind you. It was Ash Neville. Ale into Karczewska. Naz. Not seen much of this sort of build-up from Spurs, actually. Just Chelsea dropping a bit deeper. Angerad James just teasing in. Slightly awkward one, mostly because of the bounce, and it's almost dropped in there for Ayan, and Karczewska here gets the shot away. Erin Cuthbert with the block, and then Carter as well to deny Naz. Good committed defending. And maybe a counter as a result. England into Harder. Nicely kept. Still going, Pernille Harder. Oh, there was an offload on, didn't happen, and important tackle that from Amy Turner. one. Karcheska against Carter. She might fancy it, the new forward. Into Alec. Well played. Beth England followed her all the way. Suddenly getting a bit stretched, maybe.
Yeah, a few half opportunities for Tottenham Hotspur. That was I thought the ball that was in the air, it was in the air for an age. Ayan, I think it was on the far post, just opted to head it square. Wasn't much pace on the ball, but I thought she could have gone goalwards. But a couple of half chances, getting a little bit stretched. Harder just a bit over elaborate for Chelsea entering the Tottenham half.
James with an inadvertent 1-2. Guro right in here. Look at Cuthbert. No way getting around Erin Cuthbert. Brilliantly done, and getting on with the free kick. Lauren James just allowed to make a bit of ground. Wrighton. Forward comes Newen. Beth England will always try and force her way in. Get on the end of a cross like that.
Yeah, it's good goalkeeping. Capella taking the situation and coming out and being commanding. She's well marshalled there, though. Beth England, in any case, don't think she would have been able to get towards the ball, but goalkeeper looks confident.
Mielder just having a name cheered. As Lauren James is taken out by Amy Turner, being up against her former club that she's just left, Man U, on the opening day. Spurs Man United early kick-off, Saturday the 10th, 24 hours before Chelsea play West Ham at the Bridge, in case you've forgotten. Tickets available. If you've not been to Kings Meadow before, maybe start out at the Bridge on the opening Sunday and then start coming to Kings Meadow afterwards too. You're going to see more of this, I'm sure, across the WSL as the demand and the interest and the popularity rightly grows. It's out of play. Drew Spence getting a good ovation here, as you would expect, and replaced by Cho, who's just signed an extension to her deal. And we're also going to see another new arrival here in Celine Bizet, with Rosayan going off, so two former Blues depart. Celine Bizet there. It's just come from Paris Saint-Germain, young Norwegian international. Expected to do great things, which is why PSG nicked in, barely got any game time at all there, so has come to the WSL to find it, but apparently every chance she's going to be the business, and Tottenham have got her. Carter's missed it, and Mielder just got there, and the ricochet will mean it's a goal kick. Just a couple of wobbles from Jess Carter. You want them in pre-season if you've got to have them at all. We've already seen one or two, funnily enough, from another centre-back, Kadisha Buchanan there. Another new arrival, and a very well-decorated one. When you play at Lyon for a few years, you tend to win the lot.
Jess Carter's one of those players who kind of plays at her own speed, so in control of most situations, technically very good as well. So need to kind of get underneath the skin and make sure she is at it and fully motivated, fully switched on at all times. Just a little bit of complacency with a couple of her passes, but in the main, again, as ever, very, very comfortable in possession, and that's probably why sometimes she just feels she's got a bit more time than she actually has.
Angarad James has found that Erin Cuthbert's summer break has not made her any less of a pest. Be an absolute nightmare, I think, playing in a midfield up against Erin Cuthbert. Not a moment's rest. Here she is again. The Dennis Wise of this team, I think. Speaking of which, Milan, Chelsea in the Champions League again. And there will be Champions League, of course, without the need to qualify for Emma Hayes and co this term. Let's have another go then, after the disappointment of last term, the real disappointment, not even getting out the group, but it was a hell of a group. To have three clubs as big as Chelsea, Juventus and Wolfsburg all in the same foursome was tough, but it's supposed to be tough at the top. Twice beaten semi-finalists, and of course beaten by Barca in the final a couple of years ago. Half an hour to go.
Let's go, Chelsea, come on!
Harder nods it on, out by Ale. Will be the 7th bash at the Champions League, incredibly, this term. That's happened in a hurry. Another Spurs change here, and another new recruit coming onto the field. That is Ellie Brazil there, who many of you will be familiar with if you're WSL fans. She's come from Brighton in the off-season. And also coming on there, another new arrival, and another player who's suspected to be of quite high quality, but just wasn't in a great team. Ramona Petzelsberger, they've just nabbed her from Aston Villa. And Kyan Simon is also on. So that's 5 changes made by Spurs.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to know what kind of impact that has. Emma Hayes obviously limited to what she can do from her bench, but yeah, the girls will be starting to tire now, I would say, around this stage. So I'm sure Emma Hayes will be in discussions with her staff as to which of these young players that are on the bench today maybe deserves an opportunity to come in and show what they can do.
Carter under pressure from the newly arrived Simon. Cuthbert always making herself available, and that's a good ball. Maybe just a bit strong for Kangaroo. Probably going to get there, but couldn't keep it in. Looked great in the air, that ball. It just skipped on a touch. Kennerwood cutting in field. Wrighton. Back to Kanté. Can she get the angle for the shot? Can Wrighton? There's not a lot of room in there, is there? Tottenham really closing ranks well. There were 4 or 5 bodies in between ball and net there.
Yeah, it's the player you want the ball to drop to there, Wrighton, because you know she's in control of the situation, will drop the shoulder. And exactly what she did, freed up the space to get the left-footed effort away. But as we said, there was plenty of white shirts behind the ball to make the block.
Look who's put in that extra run just to make herself available again. Pre-season or otherwise, you've seen everything good about Erin Cuthbert in this game. The industry brought the second goal as well. It does set the tone from the middle of the park. Mjelde. There's a lot of competition at the back. You've got Carter, Nouwen and Mjelde in action today, who are all essentially centre-backs, with Eriksson, Bright and Kadisha Buchanan as well. I mean, that's 3 seriously top-level international defenders not in the lineup at all today, in Eriksson, Buchanan and Bright. And yet there are 3 international centre-backs out there. That's quite a level. Harder. Brazil. Doing neatly. It's getting a bit disgruntled by all accounts at not starting more for Brighton, who are rather shot shy and attack shy in the WSL, not without their quality, and they did also a little habit of annoying Chelsea in the last couple of years, actually. Chelsea's tiny wobble last season, if you can even call it that, was in December. It was a loss to Reading and 0-0 with Brighton, and the damaging defeats in the Champions League group that brought elimination. But yeah, Brighton doing that there, and it was Brighton who ended the unbeaten run of nearly 2 years by winning here 2 seasons ago.
I think I watched that game. Was that under Hope Powell?
Yes.
Yeah. It was a hell of a smash and grab.
It was. And also a gut with a howling gale, a direct corner goal went in. Early Brazil, part of that side then.
She's actually looked bright. She's showed good technical ability since she's come on. A couple of lovely touches over on the far side, and just a bit more calmness, a bit more assurance on the ball, which is probably what Tottenham have lacked in the final third. I would say that final bit of decision making, the quality, not really been there.
We're looking for some of it now. It's a good take, that. Tight angle, well defended by Nouwen, and Céline Bizet getting her first sight of goal, the new forward.
Just thought she was going to chop in field there. All the space was to her left. It was well defended, but I thought the Chelsea player was happy when she tried to go on the outside there. She brought it in field and let fly with the left foot. That's Nouwen, isn't it, who comes over, tracks the run. She doesn't want to be brought in field there. Always going to be favourite on that side to make the block.
Great control from Bizet. Pull that down. Molly Bartrip on corner duty. Nouwen is there again with the header clear. Sprints on here. There was an attempt to pull down Kanté. It may need some help. And in the end, Tottenham have crowded it, but shoot, they say to Harder, and shoot, she did.
Yeah, it's a long way from the target, but not too far away. Kanté, really good play, actually. The best she could do was just try and hold the ball up and wait for support. That's got to be perfect. Probably got to have a bit more pace on it as well from Harder, but not the worst.
Milder heads it to herself. Musovic. Hasn't had a great deal to do, funnily enough. Got rounded when Milder cleared it off the line. Too many saves for Zicera Musovic. Maybe now. Floated by Bizet, and she's got it back here. Carter's header. Very calmly done, Lauren James. It wasn't quite enough time for that, Pernille Harder. Ash Neville was in on her quick. Offside against Cho So-hyun. They have changed their forward department, Spurs. I mentioned that they, like a lot of clubs around them, didn't have anyone who was a regular scorer. In Bizet, Brazil and Karczewska as options. Being shut out at the moment, and it happened all too often to them in the second half of last season, so that would be an obvious starting point. They didn't concede that many. 10 clean sheets in League and Cup is no bad tally at all. Into the final 20 minutes here, Ellie Brazil for Tottenham, who are trying to get themselves back into the game, and that is a good chance to do so. And Kaya Simon, arriving at the back stick, has missed it.
Yes, Brazil again with really good approach play, lovely pick out. Simon just pulling around the far post. It's a good chance, I think. I think it's frustration. She hasn't been able to get round the ball and hit it back the direction that it came from. It comes from Chelsea when they've got the ball, especially in this second half, almost lining up with a back three and allowing Perisset to really push on the right-hand side. And that was the space that Brazil had run into. I think Carter and Perisset are dropping back into a back four without the ball, but...
It's Joe drilling it. That could have gone anywhere. Bizet was nearly in there, and Brazil. Well, the subs, or maybe not just them as individuals, but the impetus that's given Spurs, they feel like far more of a force in this game now as we hit the final 20 minutes. Ashley Neville trying to work the room. Deflection and corner. Tottenham, this is easily their best 5 minutes of this game.
Yeah, I mean, pushing bodies forward, but also having a bit of quality to match. That's a really good area. Look at the run of Brazil. If that's a little bit flatter, that delivery, she gets a tap in. Plenty of bodies in the box, and yeah, a little bit of a problem for Chelsea right now. That tactical quirk I was just talking about, just probably Emma Hayes working out a way to kind of play out from the back continually, you know, to try and dominate the possession and pushing the wing back on Perisset, the right back, sorry.
Danger dealt with for now. A little spell in the last few minutes. The first time you felt Tottenham look like they believe they can get back into this.
Otherwise you're going to end up there long. In the field. Need the extra body.
James just dropping in. And they went to Perisset. His new look right side as she tries to feed it through for Kanarud. So another new signing confirmed yesterday. Jelena Kankovic, a Serb. He's a multi-title winner in several countries. That's what they say you're always supposed to do. Strengthen from a position of strength and all that. Cho. Brazil, it's Cho again. Cuthbert forcing her all the way back. Brilliantly done.
Interesting that it looks like today's the day that Emma Hayes is going to want to see the majority of her players go the distance. Maybe needs must, because she hasn't got the numbers on the bench. But yeah, we're getting close to that time, really. What are we, kind of 2 weeks away from the start? Definitely anything a week before the season, you want to start drip feeding the 90 minutes into the players. But today, especially with some other players having already got minutes this weekend, probably a prime time.
Presumably, we'll feel it a bit tomorrow, this starting 11. But that's kind of the point. Ale. And Cuthbert just a bit too eager for once there. That almost imperceptible drop-off that can happen when you keep winning. That's another reason why it's so important of continuing to freshen up the look of the squad. You know, this Chelsea side have been champions 3 years running. That's looked like it was off the head of Zadorsky. Indeed it was. Chelsea ball. So you think to bring in 5 or 6, Sam, if there is any, and I don't even mean, hey, we've won the league 3 times in a row, I'm just going to stroll about with my slippers on. I just mean that tiny natural drop-off that might happen if you don't change the unit at all. Yeah. It's important, isn't it? Because whether it's, I don't know, Svitkova coming in on the left side or Kankovic, Perisset, it just keeps everyone sharp. OK, yes, I did win the league last year. Oh, right, we've signed someone else in my position. Yeah, it's like we were talking about with Erin Cuthbert. I mean, she's a bit unique in that she always feels that she's got to be right at it because she hasn't got maybe that specialist position we spoke of earlier. But yeah, I think everywhere else you want that competition. It motivates you to be at the highest level. And you know, footballers, we're a funny breed. I think when you get a quality teammate come in, you almost want to show them that you're the top man or the top woman and that you deserve to be in the team. Well, this is where I've had the success. That's the way I always was when I was, you know, doing well at a particular club. You didn't want someone to come in and take your position, yes, but you also wanted to show them why you were so well revered at your club. So there's that little bit about it as well, the psychology of it. Perisset on the charge here. And there's one of the new arrivals. A moment before that, Jess Carter put in a fantastic tackle. And there's a little reminder, really, again, because we were just saying, you know, there are 6, essentially, top-class centre-backs in this Chelsea squad. And Jess Carter has seen Kadisha Buchanan come in, and whether it's her or Millie Bright or Magda Eriksson, you would say, well, no, can't drop any of them. But, you know, can you drop Kadisha Buchanan? Here's Beth England. Tight angle. Got hold of it. Missed the target. Well, it's a shame because the approach play is amazing from Beth England. It's a wonderful turn, little nutmeg, and just doesn't get her foot wrapped around the ball. Has to go towards the far post. Cuts across it. Lovely approach play. This is just brilliant awareness. Look at that. Her best moment, and almost just doesn't get her laces through the ball. So that's a shame, real shame. Maybe just sliced it a touch, but did well there. You know, talk about competition for places. I mean, there, because of Sam Kerr and to some extent Fran Kirby, you know, Beth England has only starts about half the games. Still a hugely important member of the squad and a regular goal scorer too. Like you were saying about the defensive options, Ben, I think at this level and where Chelsea are right now, Emma Hayes is going to have to look at games differently. Eriksson may have to play left-back, probably to make them a little bit more secure at times if they're not going to have, you know, full-backs bombing up, because she's got Millie Bright. Yes, and if it's a 4 or if it's a 5, that changes things as well. You've got Bright and Buchanan now, who, you know, could easily play as a 2, but yes, and then
got the option of playing with a 3 with Eriksen as well. She'd naturally play nicely on the left-hand side. So I think it's horses for courses. Different games is going to call for what we've seen today. 2 fullbacks that are really happy, competent to bomb on. Eriksen will stay a little bit more resolute, and alongside the 2 centre-halves if she's playing at fullback.
Good feet here from Harder. We'd expect nothing else. Followed by Bartrip. Just trying to pop it through there, and has done for Kanté. Bash Neville has come in and dealt with that. Always given back though. Kanté, that's worth a hit. There's been some good blocks chucked in, to be fair, by both sets of defenders today. It's why we've seen fewer saves than we've seen shots, if that makes sense. They've not all been off target. They just haven't necessarily got to the goalkeepers. Those 2 first-half goals doing the job for Chelsea here, with somewhere between 10 and 15 minutes to play. Carter forced all the way home. Sloppy. Bartrick played that blind. Kanté. England in the middle, right and arriving. Pernille Harder at the back of the D. Lauren James. Such a false start of a Chelsea season for Lauren James. So I mentioned it. She's looked sharp and busy and getting good game time this summer. It'll feel, I think, a bit like, okay, well, this is me getting going at Chelsea now. Injured right from having signed. Stay onside is the shout. Did Ellie Brazil? No, she did not. Musovic saves it anyway, but yeah. And she didn't actually get a debut, Lauren James, till match day 4. Match day 4 of the Champions League against Servette. So, and even then it was little cameos. Probably played as many minutes this pre-season as she did in the whole of last, to be honest.
Yeah, she's faded in this second half, hasn't she? Probably, understandably, just on the ball there, stroking it about, probably just to have a little bit of a blow and a bit of a touch of the ball in the middle of the pitch, but not being involved as much around the Tottenham 18-yard box. But the level, the pace of the game definitely, dropped in this second half, especially since the substitutions just disjointed it further.
There she is again. Didn't get her first goal for the Blues until the 8th of the 9 scored against Leicester. She has got that number 10 shirt from G. And that Leicester drubbing was super impressive. Started and finished by Guro Wrighton, but Lauren James did open her Chelsea account with the 8th of those 9 on a weekend when 9-0 has made the headlines. 2-0 will do here. And with a few minutes to go. Not a scheduled cooling break, but a welcome one nonetheless, I'm sure. Breathing a bit heavily, you're right, sir. Lauren James, not the only one. How much is too much? That's the thing with this work. Should you actually push yourself even in these final few minutes, or is it okay to just ease off a little to make it easier for yourself? Or should you, to help you get fitter, actually almost overdo it? Or is overdoing it is overdoing it?
Yeah, I think so. I think just being out there now and just ticking over. Probably what Emma Hayes is saying to them there as well is just keeping switched on without the ball, making sure you can get into good defensive positions, as Tottenham have come on a little bit stronger in the last 15-20 minutes. Try and secure that clean sheet, and and maybe just cutting off the amount of running you're having to do by being a little bit cleverer in your positioning. But yeah, interesting, you know, still at this stage of a game where essentially it is a big part of fitness exercise today. MHA still coaching the players, wanting them to improve, wanting them to get better tactical understanding, and I'm sure they get a great level of, you know, tactical advice, explanations from Emma and her team.
Well, clearly there's never a time when you don't want to start well. There's never any game that isn't important. When people say it's so important we start well, I always think it's a weird thing to say, because there's 3 points on every game. But West Ham home game at the Bridge is followed by away to Liverpool, who are back up in the top flight, and then Man City. So that's coming really early in the season, potentially pivotal. You know, it's a 22-game season in the WSL. You lose more than 2, you can be up you-know-what creek. That is the nature of it. Now, Arsenal lost 1 game last year, but drew with Chelsea. And I think there were 2 other draws, 3 draws and a defeat, and they've come second. That is the thing. And with City coming up 3rd, it's just maybe that even extra importance on making sure you're at a very good level early in the season. I don't know, I'm sure she'd say every game's the same, but it's essentially one of the sort of title 6 pointers really early on in the piece, and it's not like it's a 38-match campaign, it's 22. You have a bad fortnight, it can derail you in the WSL. England out to Kerr, who played a pass for a run that wasn't happening. I can't believe that was a shot. I think she's probably expecting that someone would continue running into the box there.
Yeah, it's Pernille Harder, wasn't it? Just making the run across, just tried to feed it into her path, but she put the brakes on. It was a good switch of play over to the right-hand side. Kerr has actually been a bit more involved as a threat, I would say, in the second half. She's made some good runs across Tottenham's back line. So that's probably a bit of a fitness issue as well, probably just getting up to speed a little.
I was going to say, well, she's going to have her work cut out if that's kind of Fran Kirby's operating position, or Pernille Harder's maybe, depending on. But it's a good point you make there about them, and may well use the squad in a different way this season. I think you're right. I think the point of this recruitment is to probably rotate more. I think there is every chance you will see more switching in and out from Emma Hayes this season than we have done previously. And I don't just mean maybe for a, you know, a League Cup tie when you get the wholesale changes. I think maybe more from weekend to weekend in the league as well.
She's having a good look at the system with a back 4. Last year it was a 3, wasn't it, for the majority of the time? I think with Jess Carter being that one on the right side. I think she played an enormous amount of minutes. I think just second to Millie Bright in the WSL. So there'll still be part for her to play, but it looks like the back 4 may be the way that Chelsea start the season, and that gives her the opportunity of maybe playing with a number 10. You have to wait and see to how Fran Kirby's going to shape up at the start of the season, but so many attacking options now with what they had before and what's been brought in gives Emma the chance maybe to play with 2 holding midfielders, and then you can get 4 forwards in the team. So it looks like a back 4 may be the way they're going to start the season, going on the last 3 games.
Crossing chance here for Petzelberger, who's barely had a touch since coming on. Important player for Aston Villa, as I mentioned, and just signed a 2-year deal to come to Spurs. Test of pace here. Kerr has beaten Neville to it, puts the brakes on with a nice chop. England clips it. Pernille Harder was just waiting to nod in with a couple of minutes to go here.
Kanté's actually shown really good athleticism in the last kind of 20 minutes, breaking beyond Tottenham's back line, showing that she's got the pace, fitness, good athleticism. That's just a bit lofted from Beth England. Had to be flatter for Pernille Harder to get an attempt on the goal.
I was looking at what Emma Hayes was saying about the signing of Kanté when it happened, and said she's quick and she's direct, and that fits the profile of the kind of player I was looking to add on that side. So it's something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, maybe a difficult first half for her, given the way that Tottenham set up. There was no real space. Look, it was very congested, I thought, in Tottenham's half. So she could be an asset when games get a bit stretched, maybe for those European nights away from home when you're on the opposite footing.
Brazil and Cho just looking a bit dangerous for a moment there. That little Tottenham spell was exactly that, little. It was just a few minutes where they suddenly, more players forward, bit more quality, a few more options, and for a second you thought they might score here. They still might, but it's looking like it'll be too little too late anyway, as James goes down and comes away with the ball. That's genius. Well done. Amy Turner with a bit of nous there to win the free kick. 3 minutes of stoppage time. We're into the first of those. And it looks like the first half goals will be the goals. Always nice to beat Spurs. There goes Kanté again, trying to get away from Bizet, who's pretty nippy herself. Oh, what a touch that is. Cuthbert on the drive. England, not quite.
Yeah, it's very tight. Just couldn't feed it into the path of Cuthbert. It's good approach play. I think you can tell that Bethany England's been desperate to get a goal the last kind of 15 minutes or so, but looks like it's not going to present itself this afternoon, but should be better for the minutes as well after having, you know, that summer where she didn't feature.
And it almost squeezed in from a funny angle there. Kanté had to open out the foot, and just for a second, you wonder if Corporal had got her feet stuck. She moved over there, but it was wide of the post.
Yeah, went for the assurance of the side foot. It was a bit of a tired effort after she's had a really bright kind of 10-15 minutes, shown us what she's about. Yeah, scuffs it a little.
Three years at Häcken. Good side in Swedish football. 15 goals in 55 games for them. Decent return. Quite a few decent players have left Häcken, come to England. Stina Blackstenius, the Arsenal forward, did the same actually. Interesting to see their threat this term. Believe they've kept hold of Viviane Miedema. And there was much talk that she might be Barca bound. Into the final minute of the added three here. Kanté again. Chance for Brighton. Flag up. Offside. Decent from Corpola. She had to go with the toe poke there, Gura Brighton. Job done. 90 minutes for all 11 Chelsea players and a win over Tottenham. Thank you very much. Very handy in pre-season, Sam Parkin.
Yeah, absolutely. Some some good performances, I would say, but the most important thing, coming through unscathed, getting those minutes into the players, especially the new players, and I thought that was really encouraging towards the end. Kanté in particular had an excellent kind of last half an hour. Paris, when she went over onto the right-hand side, showed that she's going to be a great asset, getting forward at full-back. And I think Lauren James today, yes, she faded in the second half, but her technical ability shone through in that first period. And I think just another goal threat that Chelsea have added. I know she's been there since last season, but coming to the fore now, regaining fitness, regaining confidence, looking good. Good day.
And a good day for a big crowd at Kings Meadow as well. So today has seen just about the whole squad get a game in somewhere, but here it's been a very happy victory over Spurs. Both the goals in the first half, Pernille Harder and Lauren James. Chelsea 2, Tottenham 0. Now, upcoming goodies on the fifth stand-up this week. Tuesday night, remember there's a full Premier League programme. The midweekers are here to stay, folks, because Europe comes in a hurry as well. It's about to go bonkers, and from 7, you can join us for Match Day Live ahead of the Southampton away game. Who knows what next for Team Tuchel? You can hear from him on Friday as well at his press conference ahead of the West Ham match, which, in case you missed it, has moved from the Sunday to the Saturday. Job done here for Emma Hayes and her team. Don't forget, their season starts a couple of weekends from now. But from now, from me and Sam Parkin, it's goodbye.